Memory is the addiction. Let me explain. This is Q-12A, memory is the addiction. After a point of experience for an addict, they are no longer addicted to the new experience, but rather are locked into the experience of experiencing, of living their addiction of a previous memory into the current moment, thereby falsely leading the person into believing that the experience is a new one, when it is not. It is just chemical addiction, and the means to always reproduce it. And if this is the end or the means of your experiencing, then you are definitely need to consider to read Q12 and all the topics on drugs. So that's 13, 14, 15B, 15, and 13A. And these things will help you with how to address what's going on in your brain, first chemically, mentally, and psychologically, and what it is that you need to address to help you move away, not from addiction, but rewire it so that you can safely understand it. And in doing that, you can get rid of the addiction, you can remedy it, rectify it, and really and truly, addiction is everywhere. It's not something that you can say, hey man, you know what man, I'll never be a millionaire, but if I ever drive a fast car, then I won't stop, because my friend's going to hook me up with a spaceship. It doesn't work like that. This experiencing, this association that you have with addiction, this false preconception of pleasure principle, are all related to how you seek fulfillment. So this has to change. And the only way that you can change it is by changing your perception, your idea, your notion, your stopping of anticipation of what is my satisfaction. What do I want? And then you have to determine, which you will more than definitely know if others haven't told you already, especially if they're your friends or your family, as they care, that your conception, your idea, your notion, your preconceptions of fulfillment, of pleasure, are not satisfactory, and you always need more. Because of that, you're addicted, and it's not going to stop. And I tell you right now, no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, biochemical enlightenment, biochemistry pleasure, chemical manipulation through fulfillment as a principle, never will you ever experience anything better than spirituality than that was the first time that you've experienced spirituality in a state of bliss, in a state of intelligence, in a state of understanding. And because of that, you'll never get that fulfillment. And no matter how good you think it is, you just are satisfied with what you got. And that's the addiction too. And it's a vicious cycle, and it repeats itself again and again and again. And sometimes drugs help you get to a state where you're comfortable. But I mean, when we have an altered dimension where we can go anywhere we want and astral travel, it's all about new connections and new memories and new experiences, and we'll always get better. As I myself have done E for many, many months, and I've learned within 2 or 3 months how to do it without the drugs. But I only used to go to clubs once every week, And then after that, once every month. And now I'm lucky if I even go once or twice a year, only because of my work and because of I can travel astrally. But lucky for you guys, which we all are in the fifth dimension, you can feel. I can't. So I mean, we all have our mission in life. So let's address how we can make ourselves better. So then, when you're learning something and you believe it's a new experience, it's not a new experience. You're just repeating the same experience because you always try to make it the same. And sometimes you try to change it too. But for once that you are high, you often exhibit habits of pleasure that are behavioral. This means you'll do the same thing in pursuit of the memory of the addiction. And as soon as the result, they will reenact habits and experiences that will activate neurons in their brains, which will cause a previous memory to be triggered. So, previous memory gets retrieved, you repeat a behavior, a habit brings forth that memory, it activates it, you're reliving that memory in your own reality, which is what they call delusion, and what psychologists call that delusion, or psychoanalysts and psychiatrists. But you're actually in an altered state of being, not in an altered reality. Because after a certain point of time, your spirit does not allow it because you're deemed unsafe. You're deemed, your pass is revoked, and because you're vibrating addiction. And people can't have that in this reality. And in the fifth and the fourth dimensions. So you're benched permanently until you can't. And it makes your addiction worse. And what makes it worse is that they don't teach you why you're like this. I mean, when you're sleeping and you're taking naps, boom, you know it's true that you're flying around and doing this and that. But then you come back, and because you're doing the drugs, it prematurely wires you to remember these things prematurely. But you're skipping steps. So you're going from knowing to understanding and not knowing. So then it's like, you know what? I know I did that. It's like deja vu. You know, but how can you prove it? You can't. Because you can't prove it. It's impossible to prove it. You can't prove something that you can't prove. So everything makes us go crazy. So now it's going to change because we're going to have the technology to help you address these things. And it's going to help you become better and stronger. And then you'll be able to go out and travel to other worlds, or other realities, not other worlds. As long as we're in this state of samsara, none of us can leave this planet. We were able to go to Mars and the moon just for the Earth humans 2,000 years ago. But after Jesus died, everything changed, man. We were all benched. So, I mean, I tell you right now, if King Arthur didn't die for us, we'd be screwed too. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that, are wrong in our brain. We're screwed in that sense. Insane, because we're without sanity, when what it really means is that we could be so much better. So, insane. Anyways, this simulates a reliving of the previous memory, hence the term memory is the addiction. A borrowed term from Deepak Chopra, a former professor from Boston University, and some of this work is from his studies. He's a bioendocrinologist, although he is not a memory specialist, but a doctor, still a doctor, and his dad was a famous, very, very famous and powerful physician, and he's got a lot of helpful work too. And anyways, if the experience is a new one, new axons are connected. So If the experiences are new axons are created to connect to the same neuron of memory. This is called a community. And there are sub neurons in one community which are similar but not the same. Here, similar but not the same. This is a uniball black pen, and this is a black marker. So they're in this community, and what it does is it recognizes this as so many ways. The tip is thicker, the smell is different, right? This is blue, this is black. So right now you have 1, 2, smell, tip. You have 2 neurons like this. So there's a hub right here. Connects 1 and 2. But it goes like this. 1 and 2 like this. And then it connects and it goes to the hub here. And this is the sensation. And then this. Well, it's not the sensation, but they work as a unit to provide information that relays it to your sensing part, your other senses, to help you smell, feel, all those things, and it processes it, and then boom, you get all 7 senses at once, 6 senses. I'm sorry, and because the spiritual sense doesn't really count as a feeling. It just serves to augment everything, because it's a processor in reality, a decipher, a decoder. So then you have these all connected, a subconnector is blue. So then you have 2 here, 2, and then 1. So then you have 2, 2, and 2, and 1. And then a funny thing happens. If it's the same, it's going to connect like that. So now this hub, this box, processes the information and goes bang, 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 bang. All this happens at one time. You have no idea how fast this is. 7 billion bits of information per second. So we're talking thousands of connections at once. I'm guessing, but that's what I think it is. And it relays this into the 7 senses. So it breaks this down into 7 units and then sends it to your brain, or 6 units and sends it to your brain, and interprets it through the 5 senses. Bang! Your brain processes it, and it does this all the time. And this particular thing is maybe, let's say, weed or marijuana, whatever you want to call it, and then like doing this or that to it. And that's a poor example, but I don't know, like there's so many associations. I don't know, smoking kush, or I don't know, blondes are beautiful, or that's really stupid comparison, but there's so many ways that this can connect. So let's stick to the marker thing, and to make it nice and concrete and non-biased, simple. So that's what it is. So think of a neuron of a memory as a file in your computer. The file grows and increases in size as the experiences grow. But it is the same file, and as a result, a different same song. So here, that's a better explanation. After a while, it gets boring, no matter how many remixes it gets. Therefore, we chase the same experience, as we are addicted to the memory. The key to the experience is all pleasure, and some people just do the craziest things.